Look at additive and multiplicative inverses. We'll start with additive inverses. Two numbers are additive inverses if their sum is equal to 0. Just a refresher, the sum is the answer in an addition problem. So in 2 plus 2 equals 4, the sum is 4. So if we have two numbers that are additive inverses, their sum is going to equal 0. You can find the additive inverse of any number by multiplying it by -1. And the additive inverse of any number A will be -A. Okay, and then the multiplicative inverse is, so two numbers are multiplicative inverses if their product is equal to 1. Product is equal to 1. The product is the answer in a multiplication problem. So in 3 times 2 equals 6, the product is 6. So the multiplicative inverse of any number A will be 1 over A. And just a note, for multiplicative inverses, the sign remains the same. So it's not A and -1 over A, it's A and 1 over A. So both positive. So let's go through some examples. So we'll look at these numbers and we'll come up with their additive inverse and their multiplicative inverse. So 8, the additive inverse will be the number that we have to add to 8 to get to 0. The other way to find the additive inverse is to multiply it by -1. So the additive inverse of 8 is -8. Now we'll look at 1/4. The additive inverse of 1/4 is -1/4. Additive inverse of -16. So I multiply it by -1, so that would be 16. Additive inverse of positive 320 would be -320. Additive inverse of 2/3 will be -2/3. Additive inverse of -4 over 5 will be +4 over 5. Additive inverse of 128 is -128. Additive inverse of -2 is +2. Additive inverse of 1 over 9 is -1 over 9. And now the multiplicative inverse. So the multiplicative inverse is when we kind of flip. We can think of each number as a fraction, and then we flip the numerator and the denominator. So for 8, we can write 8 as 8 over 1. It's the same thing. So then the multiplicative inverse, again, we flip numerator and denominator. So the multiplicative inverse would be 1 over 8. For 1 over 4, I'm again going to flip. So that would turn into 4 over 1, which is just equal to 4. -16, remember the sign stays the same. So this is -16 over 1. So if I flip numerator and denominator, I get -1 over 16. 320 will become 1 over 320. Multiplicative inverse of 2 over 3 will be 3 over 2. Multiplicative inverse of -4 over 5 will be -5 over 4. Remember, the sign stays the same. Multiplicative inverse of 128 is going to be 1 over 128. Multiplicative inverse of -2 is -1 over 2. Multiplicative inverse of 1 over 9, I flip numerator and denominator. I get 9 over 1, which is just equal to 9.